All right. Test, test. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Check, check.
All right. I am Phil Nilsson.
And I'm Tori. True.
This is this is Two Cousins Talk, and today we're doing top 5 books.
Yeah. Top five. Our top five books of all time.
Yep.
And this is big.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. I'll say right here. I have a hard time when it comes to reading physical like books, but I do have several. I'm now more of the audiobook, you know, pe- people's. Plus it's nice to listen to it while at work, scrubbing toilets.
Now, do you have an Audible? You have like an Audible subscription or anything like that?
I have a few books from Audible. I don't have the their service or anything.
Mm.
I got a couple through iTunes and stuff.
Okay. And when did you start doing that?
Basically, I know the very first I think Audible book is actually I won't say because it is on my list. Was when we went to um, me, Frank, and my ex went to PAX Prime in 2013. We picked up this book. Well, we picked up two, but this one was the one I chose. We all wanted to listen to it.
Oh, okay. Oh, I got you. I got you.
Yep. And I think to me, audiobook is a lot more easier to get into because once you listen to it, it's not like there's a physical thing in your hands. You can just pick it up. I mean, you can say, "Hey, I want to listen to it again."
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there is a different, from actually reading it, so it gets, But I'm always one of those. I'm a preferred listener. I'd rather listen to it.
No, I got you. Uh, uh, well, no, that's cool. Me myself, I own a shit ton of books. It's one of my biggest hobbies. Doing it for a very long time. I'll listen to things every now and again, but uh, no, I still do the tried and true uh, print. There's nothing quite like it. I just can't really do the listening sort of thing. So
I mean,
yeah, I've done books my whole life, and I have a shit ton of them.
so okay, are you one of those? Do you keep said books, or do you
Oh yeah.
once you read them, or you know you set give them a friend, or take them to a bookstore to sell?
Oh, say hi to Perkins.
Hello, Mr. Perkins, Mrs. Perkins.
No. I find it very difficult to get rid of books. I find it very difficult.
Yes.
I have a shit ton of them. Every once in a while, I'll purge some stuff, but yeah, it's very difficult for me to get rid of books. So I have a lot of them.
Cool.
Yeah, still to this day.
Cool. Yeah. So like,
Because at the end, because yeah, I mean, all I want in this life is when I'm retired, I just want a large library. That's all I want.
it's
I just want a large. So I got to start collecting books. So I
cool.
have been.
Cool.
Yeah, that's all. That's all I want. That's all I want in my life. So I'm there. Although, to be fair, I kind of sort of already have a library. The room I record in, yeah, it's like this little foyer. It's a little foyer. It's to my bedroom. I
Okay.
don't know. It's
Oh wow.
yeah, and then I got all the sci-fi, Star Wars, Shadowrun stuff there. Another bookshelf over there. There's a bookshelf behind that red glowing thing as well. Yeah, I have a lot of books. So yeah,
Yeah.
top five books for me. That's
Well, how
I had to think about it.
You know, how? So was it pretty? Was it? Did you always had like one or two books you immediately said like, all right, this is on the list?
Definitely, definitely, I did that. But the one thing I had to think about was I basically did no series. I had to make that or no books from series. I had
Okay.
to make that pronouncement
Okay.
for me personally. Just because it's different for me. It's like I could do like a top 5 series, like
Yeah.
series of sci-fi or fantasy. I could just do those in and of themselves. So for this one, I just chose single books.
Okay. Like what one?
But
What would we consider like one shots?
well,
So
sure, yeah,
so
yeah,
like
yeah.
we're not going to see like Wheel of Time book 4 or
No,
anything.
no, no, no. Yeah, exactly.
Oh
I wouldn't even
man.
know how to. I wouldn't even know how to do that. How would you separate something like that, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. No,
But what about you? Do you like we didn't really make that a rule. Do you have a series or things in series?
um I at least for one of them because it's my absolute favorite and it's the beginning of Into the Series.
Oh, okay.
And mine also stems into the comic book range too.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Ooh, oh, god damn it. Well, now I'm.
I got a few. I do have a few honorable mentions.
Damn it. Oh, I forgot to do honorable mention. Well, don't
Alright.
worry. It'll be easy.
Alright.
I'll just look around. Oh man. Well, man. Speaking of comic books, I found a really great find a couple days ago. I found. So I continued. So I have Sandman's 1 through 3,
Yep.
and then I found 4, 5, and 6.
Sweet.
Pristine condition
Wow.
at a used bookstore. Got them all for like $15.
Damn.
Beautiful, beautiful. Like, that's exactly why I didn't buy them all at the same time. Like I kind of wait
Yeah.
to buy it first to get a good sale. And ooh, man, they're perfect condition.
Do you know which like edition they are?
It's like those.
Oh, you got
omnibuses.
okay.
The one. Well, no, not it's the where one is Preludes and Nocturne, right?
Yeah.
And then 2. I don't remember the other titles, but they're like that thickness.
Okay. So
And I don't know how many there are, but
yeah. Okay.
yeah, no, it's awesome. I live for that kind of stuff. It was so cool.
That's cool. Did you do the sort of the?
Oh yeah, just because this used bookstore is cool because they don't buy anything unless it's like great condition.
Really?
But for some reason they had them like super cheap. So yeah, I was just like, oh my god, let's go.
Cool. All right. So should we jump into? Do you want to go or should I go?
I'll go. I'll go first.
All right.
I think I went first last time, or you went first last time.
Okay.
So I'll go first this
All
time.
right. If people in the audience, if you guys can remember, so when we do our next top 5.
Let's see. All right. Well, top 5 books. This. Wow. All right. My number 5 of my top 5 books. Of Human Bondage by Somerset Maugham. Or Mong.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. It just that it looks like just a literal textbook.
No, yeah. I can't remember if this actually had a cover. It's an old enough book. Oh yeah, and I kind of like casually collect first editions.
Okay.
It's a casual thing. So I do like older editions Of Human Bondage, Somerset Maugham. This novel came out in 1915, and people probably Somerset Maugham, they probably know him best by a novel called The Razor's Edge. That's like a smaller novel,
Okay.
and that's probably his most popular. And it was turned into a movie where it had Bill Murray in it,
So
like his first like serious role.
what kind of book is Human?
Oh yeah, well, I guess I can say this. These are all fiction.
Okay.
Everything that I have on my list is fiction. Anyway, but no, yeah. So of Human Bondage, it's a very Somerset Maugham's a very kind of it's an interesting writer. It's not too floofy. It's not too extravagant, but it's not too simple either. It's just good old fashioned Western writing, and the book, it's great. It's about a dude named Philip.
Yeah.
Philip's the main protagonist, and it's really just about him and his life and his like relationships with women. like his mother dies in the beginning, and he goes to live with his uncle, and he's going to be like an art student, but he kind of fails it because he's not good at art, and so he goes into medicine, and then he meets this like crazy chick named like what is it, Mildred or something like that. And she's just crazy, and most of the book is like him kind of like he falls in love with her, but she's insane. She like leaves him all the time. And then he meets this other nicer woman, but then like he leaves her to go back to this crazy chick, and it's really just about that. It's just really about this dude just not being able to figure it out and just getting fucked over by this one chick, but then also being kind of a piece of shit to this other woman, and then like but then she has a kid, but then she leaves him, and then he tries to become an artist again, fails, but then finally becomes a doctor, and then meets some just like nice quiet lady, and then just marries her, and pretty much it's like pretty much the whole point of the book is like, you know, sometimes just a quiet nice life is better than the roller coaster
Okay.
of like craziness, you know. And that's pretty much it.
So how did you get introduced to this book?
I think it was told. A friend of mine told me to grab it. Told me to read it.
Okay. Yeah, because I just
a literature student.
okay. Yeah, just because us knowing each other, that would have not been a book I would have figured you picking up.
Oh yeah, no, I love the classics as you will notice in my list.
Okay.
I do love the classics, but I think the big thing is that it really came. I read it in a time in my life when I was thinking about that a lot. You know, just fucking crazy women. You know, it really made sense to me. It really just echoed my own life. So I think that's why I really liked it. And I haven't read it in I think I read it like 15 years ago. I barely remember it, but it is on my list.
But I'm pretty sure if you read it again, it'd be like the pistons would fire off.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. All right, well, that's my number 5.
All right. My number 5 is an autobiography.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. All right.
If people have known me in my musical tastes, I was a Marilyn Manson fan. Well, sort of. Still, he's an asshole. I like it.
Yeah.
So mine.
Oh shit! Yeah.
The Long Hard Road Out of Hell by Marilyn Manson and written by Neil Strauss. Okay, I would put an asterisk over this a little bit because it sounds like he fudged a lot of things about this. Which I understand, you want to make yourself look good. But the reason, again, I was a huge Marilyn Manson fan. My first, I considered as an adult concert was seeing Marilyn Manson with my cousin here.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, we rocked that shit out.
Yeah.
Salt Lake City, Utah.
No, I thought it was, or was it I thought it was Boise.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was
It could have
Boise.
been. Oh, was it Boise? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
because as far as I know,
Okay,
he's still banned out of Salt Lake.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah. We went to Boise.
Yeah.
We rocked it out with a couple of goth chicks.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, but to me, this helped sort of demystify the devil. You know, talked about his strain. You know, a little bit of his strain, relationship with religion and stuff. You know, I mean, I love the opening of this book. Talking about him and his cousin breaking into his grandfather's like secret room and stuff. But I think this is like, I know I've read this book like 2 or 3 times because it was like, first time I read it 3 days, which was like a huge accomplishment at the time because I, took forever to read books. Between the print and reading, sometimes the neurons don't reach. But this was my number 5 because it was like it left a lasting impression, and it is one of my favorite books. Now, like I would again put an asterisk because he apparently fudged up a lot of stuff. But it's like, yeah.
Well, man, that takes me back because I had that book too, and in fact, that makes me wonder, like, where the hell that book is and why I don't have it with me here.
Yeah,
Like,
this is one. This is one book I definitely will. I mean, if stuff happens, I probably will never get rid of.
Yeah, no, I know. I've read that. I read that several times, probably 4 or 5 times because it's a nice read. It's an easy read.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what it is, but yeah, I really enjoyed reading that book back in the day as well.
I mean, I saved up my meager allowance, and when it got to the because I think I was at least I can't say friends, acquaintance with one of the females at the bookstore, and she said I came in wearing my Manson shirt, and she's like, "Hey, we're getting his autobiography this day," so I saved up my meager allowance, saved it, and when I got there when Walden Books opened, literally grabbed it and like, boom.
Love that Walden Books, man. Love that Walden Books.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. No, yeah. That's a great book. I don't know what it is. Maybe Neil Strauss should look into more of his stuff because it's pretty easy read.
Okay, yeah.
Nice, but also like you keep it's interesting and it's really fast paced.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, good choice. God, where is that? Where's that book? That makes me think what other books are in Idaho's. But they're not here. Of mine. Interesting.
All right.
All right. Number four. For your boy. This is The Brothers Karamazov by Dostoevsky. People don't know Dostoevsky.
It sounds familiar. I actually heard. I think I've heard that name. Is there another artist with a similar name?
I mean, possibly, but Dostoevsky. He's the man. He Russian literature. He's like the king of Russian literature, and Russian literature was like the literature for a time, especially in like the 19th century, into the 20th century. Like he wrote Crime and Punishment.
Okay, that's
Notes from the Underground. Lot of novels, and probably one of the greatest authors of all time. And this is his last book, and my favorite out of his. And the problem I'm going to have though is that, God, I hardly remember anything from it. Honestly, I hardly remember. I think I read this 10 years ago. Uh, but like, who says it? Like, it's an incredible novel, quite large, and it's just him at his best. And I don't know, his style of writing. It depends on the translator you get, like the translator who does the translation of Russian.
Yeah.
But it's pretty easy. It's easy reading as well. It's just a lot,
Okay.
right? But this book, yeah, it's about this family, um, with these like this crazy fucking father. This dude's just insane. Uh, and he has three sons: Dmitri, Ivan, and Alexei. And from two marriages, and it's just about them, like they're like the family, like trying to get this inheritance, get this money, and he's like being crazy and getting sent to prison, and the three brothers are doing all sorts of crazy shit, and there's just all sorts of, and then one of the brothers gets into a love triangle with his father and this one woman. It's just crazy stuff. Uh, but my favorite part is there's this one part of the book where two of the brothers come in and they're talking at a restaurant, and one of them's like religious, and the other one's atheist, and and their talk is probably, it's one of the best uh, literary sections about this of all time, about, because think about it, because this was like in like 1879,
Okay.
right? So people are really starting to come into, like, you know, the non-religious thing that's really starting to come about, especially in Russia.
Okay.
And so it's like the biggest piece, and it's just these two brothers talking at dinner. So it's great. It's just one of the best scenes of all time. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't have much. Don't know. I gotta reread it.
Oh,
It's just a lot of it's just crazy characters.
I mean,
Doing crazy things.
is it like set during like the fall of communist background, or is it just?
Well, no, because it's pre that.
Okay.
It's before any of that. But it does talk about, like, but it's a lot to do with, like, industrialization,
Okay.
like coming into the modern world. How does, from the old world to the modern? Dostoevsky talks about it.
Okay.
A lot. And the religious and the non-religious, and like the religious versus the secular, and like the czars versus like the new, like, French Revolution sort of.
Okay.
He talks about all that kind of stuff, and like he's like one of the biggest artists to talk about that stuff when it was happening. It's just awesome.
So what was it? Was it controversial? Do you know what?
He was always controversial. Like he was always, he had a lot of his books. He had to take some stuff out
Okay.
for certain publications, and probably even in this one as well. And a lot, because like the church, didn't like some of the stuff
Of course.
that he put in there. So he was still doing that kind of. He was still around when that kind of shit.
Okay.
No, it's just good. And Dostoevsky's it's a if you want to get into like something very literary, depending on the translator, it's pretty easy reading.
Okay.
Or to like listen to it, I imagine Dostoevsky would be pretty easy to listen to.
You may have to send me a list on like the, because see if I can find them on audio and give them a listen to.
Totally.
So speaking of audio, number 4, my first audio is sort of sidetrack. One of my favorite board games is the game Clue.
Oh yeah.
And it is known, and it's a whodunit. This is sort of in the vein, but okay, let's see if this works. But my number 4 is called. Does it work? Is it seeable?
Oh, what are we looking at?
It should be in the right hand corner to the fans who can see it.
Oh, cool. Okay, yeah.
Whodunit, Murder on Mystery Island. How I found this book was on Audible, Audible, and it was like, I think it was like $2 and stuff. And there was a little preview, listen to it, and so I was like, and it was described as like, hey, if you like Clue, if you liked this, give this a listen. And yeah, so this is apparently the 3rd in the series. But again, from what I understand, it started off as a television series, and the writer,
really,
he's the guy who created the CSI franchise.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, this is the 3rd book, and I've got it off he calls it season 0, which introduces the main character's name is Giles. He's this traditional English butler, and he's hired to and basically, hey, we're having a few bit of guests here, and we're going to play a game. All the murder. This is the 3rd one where he thinks he's gotten out. He's traumatized by the 2 previous, and guess what? It comes up to bite him again.
Nice. Okay, so it's the 3rd in the series of books.
Yeah,
but it's like a prequel, or
this one it would be the 3rd one if I understood it, because I tried to look up details on it, and it's very convoluted. So the the TV series would be like would be book 1, but there is no book.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So
okay,
maybe
yeah. No, I just looked at the TV series just now. Okay,
it is on. I think on YouTube.
Reality murder mystery.
Yeah, it is on YouTube.
Did you watch it?
No, I watched like 3 or 4 episodes, and then I got distracted with something else.
Nice.
I should go back and watch it, but I've listened to this like 3 or 4 times because it's very lighthearted. It's like all the murder.
Yeah.
It's just very lighthearted. It's on it's about maybe 6-8 hour listen. So perfect for those drives. Anywhere to where you're cleaning toilets.
Ooh, actually, that's 6 or 7 hour listen. That'd be like perfect for like a drive to like Pocatello.
Yeah.
From where I'm at, right? Like if I could like do a whole one in one sit, in one drive, because most audiobooks are like, like 21 hours.
Yeah.
Like that, right? Like, yeah, nice little ones like that would be pretty sweet.
Well, yeah. But this is my number 4, and yeah, it's it's a 3rd in the series.
Did you guess the murderer?
No,
I guess it.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, even when it was down to the final 3, and I'm like, there's no way that it could be this person. I won't lie, I was a little bit let down on the reveal of the murderer in this, just because I just didn't like her.
All right.
And I'm glad this worked.
Yeah, sweet. All right. Number three. Number three. Middle of the pack, but still based. My number three. You'll recognize this one. Oh wait, hang on. Let's see. You'll recognize this one, my boy. We got
Yeah.
we got Stephen
I
King's
I am
It.
I am sad to say that I did not make my list because it is so. Yeah.
As you can see, ladies and gentlemen.
And I think on the audiobook it's almost like 13 hours.
Oh really? I would think it'd be more.
It could be. It could be.
Is that one of those where
And it's
Stephen King is?
and it's on a bridge too.
Yeah. Is it Stephen King who reads it?
No.
Oh, thank God. I mean, I love the dude, but Jesus.
Steven Weber from the guy from Wings does it,
Ah.
and I think he did. I think he did the Shining one as well, but I think because to me the second half of the Shining was of the audiobook seems like a different voice. I could be wrong, but yeah.
Well, yeah. Stephen King's It. Out of all of his books, and yeah, if you didn't get it from the pan, I have a goodly amount of them.
So what makes it better, say, than the Stand, which is some people say is his magnum opus?
Yeah. Well, okay. First things first. All of that comes like the Stand. I think all of his earlier stuff is just better than his later stuff.
I have people who agree with that.
For the most part. Although his newest stuff is pretty good too. But any case, no, the reason is because I think it's because of how the book is framed is really awesome.
Okay.
So it's not just chronological. Like the Stand is pretty chronological.
Okay.
This goes from point A to point B. Like the miniseries.
Okay.
The book sort of starts. It starts with that. It starts with all of them getting a phone call.
Yeah.
It's very like I think the first one. Well, no, it starts with Georgie following the boat.
Yeah.
And that's the prologue, and then it goes into the phone calls.
Yeah, because the famous paper boat basically in the prologue says is forgotten to time. But if you look on every merchandise, I think it's even, was it even on the book cover there?
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah,
it's like one of the.
And this is the first edition.
Really? Wow.
Well, yeah, not a first print, but a first edition. But yeah, no. It's just how. So yeah, it starts with that. Then it starts with the phone calls, and it keeps going back and forwards in time. Like it has all these weird little interviews, and then it's sort of overall framed by Mike writing about it. Like he goes and interviews a bunch of people about the old stuff that happened.
Yeah.
And those are called interlude pieces. So the whole book, it just keeps going back and forth in time.
But see that
to the past.
To me that works perfectly with it because to me if they did it with the miniseries or the movie, it would have been very, very confusing. Because
they kind of did it with the miniseries, like how
well
the first part of it, the first part of that miniseries is just the phone calls, and then all the past, and then the second part is all the present, basically.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of flashbacks in the second part too.
Yeah. Because
oh, go ahead.
My brain's trying to because then in the book they basically he wraps up its first defeat with the Losers Club and the second time about within this same.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, he had the present and the past are much more intertwined, and so the last part of the book, yeah, they're definitely like he goes back and forth between the two,
Yeah.
and then it ends with uh, the past conclusion, not the first, not the present,
Okay.
and then the epilogue, the very last bit is Bill riding the bike and having his wife wake up,
Okay.
and that's the very last bit. But yeah, it's there's so much in the book, and it's I think it's like a real like snippet of Americana. That's my thing. Like I think it's like a really big. It's like a snapshot of America.
Well, I mean, because I think that's what made Stephen King's writing so good. It's like you could, it's like him talk about walking out that door and looking to the left, and there's the drugstore. Over down to the right is secondhand clothes, secondhand rose. You can visually see it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Then just past behind secondhand is Henry Bowers and his gang.
No, you're right, and yeah, and you'll notice like I believe, and I've read a lot of like literature, and I think this is at that level. I think it is up at that level, and possibly a couple of his other books like I think Cujo's really amazing.
Okay.
Needful Things is really amazing, and then and that's the thing though. The stand is pretty good too. Yeah, The Stand is pretty good. But yeah, but I always liked it more. I honestly.
Yeah, so that's what hurts about me is it didn't make my list. Just because it was like I unfortunately listened to it later in life. Because it was like I had the miniseries to sustain me. Hey, I'm bored. What am I watch? I want to watch the miniseries. And then when I would see the book, that was intimidating.
And it's long.
I mean, at one point, even the size of this book right here was intimidating. Now, this being a pretty damn light read.
But what I would say, if anyone wants to try it, is that as I was saying, yeah, it is like cut up, like it's almost like episodic. Like it really is kind of like oh, there's this like episode that's in the past. Oh, and then there's this like interlude that's like maybe 50 pages long, and then there's like the present that's like maybe like 40 pages long. Like it is like kind of cut up. So it's just a lot of cut up pieces that make the whole. So it's not necessarily like just one long, not like because like that's kind of what The Stand is. It's just one.
The beginning of Captain Trips.
Yeah, up till the end. It's pretty just one straight line if I remember correctly. But anyway, yeah, that's my number 3. Read it.
Number 3. So,
all right, what you got, Phil?
My number 3 is my first comic book trade.
Nice.
I read this in high school. The teacher apparently picked it up and was talking how great this book was, and I asked, "Hey, can I borrow it and read it?" Art Spiegelman's Moss.
Ooh.
I do have the second one, but I like this one.
I've seen that. Yeah. Holy shit.
And yeah, this is like one. If I had to make a top 10 comic book trades, this would probably be in like definitely the top 2.
Oh, nice. Okay.
But yeah, this tells the story of Art Spiegelman of telling basically his father's story, surviving the Nazi in the camps in the stuff, told by and Moss being the Jews being represented by mice, cats were the Germans and the Americans were,
Mouse. Yeah.
And this was one of my greatest reads ever. I think I read it like twice in 2 days. I went home, read it, and teacher asked for it for me again. Asked for it. I'm like, I want to read it again. Went home, read it again. Next day, brought it back. I.e., the funny story. The same teacher who let me borrow this. I was doing a book report on this. She gave me shit about this. Gave me a note saying, well, if we ever do another type of do books like I think it was like Crime and Punishment or some of these literal classic books.
I think I remember you mentioning that a long time ago to me. I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah, and it pissed me off because it was like I was trying to help demystify that. Well, that's that old one, but this was like I said, one of my top 2 comic books. I would say that if you can find it, I think they now I don't know, basically combine the two as just one. But
how long? Yeah, like what you have, is that one of 2 that you just showed?
Yeah, I think he only did the second one later just because of the outcry of they wanted to know his dad's of his dad's story.
Who's the author? Who's the author?
Art Spiegelman.
Art. Oh, wait, Arch.
Art. Yeah, and he even talks about the tumultuous relationship he had with his father, because he even, I think if I remember, he in the book talks, and it's not like he sat there and one day like, hey Dad, tell me your story. It was like through months and years. And I think by the time he finished the second arc of it, his dad was like long dead. But he was getting the story from his stepmother, who didn't even live, who wasn't even a Holocaust survivor. If I'm hearing it right, sorry.
Wow. Well, sweet, man. I'll check it out. Because my comic book acumen is limited. Because I think trying to find like a comic book, I think that's worse. That's harder than trying to find a book, like a new book. Like that shit is hard. It's hard to pierce if you don't know anything.
Yeah.
So I'm always down for some recommendations. Mouse. Nice. All right.
So.
You ready for number 2?
Number 2.
All right, number 2. Oh, this is a biggie, and you'll recognize this one. You'll know this one because everyone knows it. That's how huge it is. That's how important it is. But that is also how good it is. You can't really see much with this.
Wow.
Because it doesn't even have the name on it, and it's a horrible. I need to get an actual better book. Moby Dick.
Wow.
Moby Dick by Herman Melville is my number 2. Written in 1851.
Wow.
A while ago.
I think I've only had 2 run-ins with Moby Dick. One was a play the ISU ran, and then I think another one was, I want to say it was like a Saturday morning cartoon that my yeah, it was just or I don't know if it was even a cartoon. It was a movie, but it was like 30 minutes long.
Nice.
And it was like, I don't think we even finished it.
Wow. Well, yeah, I mean, everyone knows this is called the Great American Novel, and it is called that for a reason. But it's also, but it's a weird thing. Like a lot of people read it in high school. I read it in high school,
Okay.
but I also read the abridged version. And I think most people read the abridged version. It's actually not the longest book. It's not too long, but people abridge it because it's fucking whack.
Really?
He does weird shit in this book, and uh, and you know, and you probably know that you know, there's a couple of movies made about it, right?
Yeah.
You know, with like Picard, you know, is like Captain Ahab in one of them.
See, I think I remember that, but it's like I only knew, you know, yeah, Patrick Stewart as Picard. I'm like, he's too nice of a guy to play Ahab.
Yeah, no, Ahab's a real piece of work. But here's the thing, like, yeah, there's been all sorts of movies made on him, all sorts of stuff.
Okay.
But here's the thing, and this is my hot take, and I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to like show this to the rest of the world. But Moby Dick is a comedy. It's a comedy.
Okay.
It's not. Well, I mean, it's everything. As I can't remember who said it, but literally everything. The whole of reality is represented in Moby Dick. All of it.
Okay.
Everything is in Moby Dick. But it's a comedy. It's fucking funny as fuck. Like, and the fact that most movies, like most adaptions about it, they make it all like serious. You know what I'm saying? Like they make it all like super like serial, like because Captain Ahab, yeah, he's a force to reckon with, but it's fucking, the book is fucking funny as fuck. Like look, like there's so many chapters in the book where Melville's like, where he's talking about, yeah, Ishmael, he gets on the boat, you know, he meets, he's in his bed and Queequeg, the Islander, comes in and like gets in bed with him and like strokes his ding dong, and it's weird. But then he's cool with it. There's all that stuff. But then and then in the next chapter, Melville's like, all right, we're going to take a second. We're going to talk about whales. All right, so the baleen whales are doing, and he spent the whole chapter just talking about whales.
Like, okay, is it like separate? Like all of a sudden, like, you know?
Yes. Very much.
How?
It's like someone. It's like someone like breaking the fourth wall on a television show and being like, "All right, let's go over here for 1 second," and then like doing like a presentation.
Okay.
He does that like 8 times in the novel, especially in the latter half. Like when they're like chasing Moby Dick, he'll like, all right, so why are they chasing Moby Dick? Well, okay, so sperm whales. So he goes through the entire physiology of a sperm whale for like 50 pages. Like it's so funny. Like that's the weirdness of it. It's such a weird fucking book, and everybody tries to like cut out those parts to like make it this like tragedy or like Shakespearean tragedy or whatever. But it's
okay.
Not, it's fucking whack, dude. It's great. It's amazing.
Okay, yeah, no, that's weird.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you should like check out one of the movies that were made sometime. It just and they're kind of cool. Like they like there's some really great monologues they have dudes. You know, I would strike the sun if it insulted. You know, like one of the greatest literary characters of all time. But yeah, and that's all that's in the book. But then in the next chapter, he'll be like, so let me list all the ways that the oil was used. For like 12 pages. like that's Moby Dick. But everyone like sort of like parses that out. It's hilarious. So I've always thought about what would be like a really, like I've always thought about like trying to adapt it into like a weird multimedia play or something like that, like just some sort of funny weird thing. I don't know. But no, I love Moby Dick. I've reread it several times. It's a great book. Yeah, you should just try. You should try to find an audio book of it, unabridged. Make sure it's unabridged.
Okay. No, I'll do it right now. Let's go. I want to.
And then they'll be like, so the whale is cut up into 4 different types, and then and you'll be like, what am I listening to? Am I listening to a science book?
Yes.
And it'll be like Queequeg crept in at night and got into bed with me. Like, whoa, man.
Yeah,
Relax.
because I always thought as it being this unhinged guy, like, yeah, just this guy who's just completely unhinged.
I mean, it is in a way. Yeah, Ahab is unhinged. It's about this dude who, he's basically like Moby Dick is like it's a symbol for like the universe, all the slings and arrows of the universe, and it's about humans being like, fuck you, fuck all of it. I'm against everything. Like, it was also kind of like a very atheistic sort of like look at the world in the beginning. It was like, we are humans and hear us roar. That's what Ahab is.
So when did this, like, when did you read it and when did you come to realize what it was saying?
Oh, well, I read it in high school, but that was a bridge, and that was just sort of, and we watched the movie, and that was just sort of the thing, and that was still awesome. Like, I still sort of understood that. But then when I finally read it in its entirety, like, and without all that context, you realize that it's there's so many funny parts in it. It's so hilarious. Because it's just about this dude named Ishmael. He was just like, he's like, oh yeah, I'm just walking around, I gotta get on the boat, and there's just so many funny parts to it, like where they're like and they're like when they're on the boat and they're all messing with like the cabin boy and like fucking with his shit and like tearing off all of his clothes and making him like clean up something and like making him cleaning up and then dirtying it, and he's perpetually cleaning up this spot of the deck. Like, it's just like so fucking. And then there's and Starbuck, the second and third mate, and like their whole thing. It's just great. It's just so fucking awesome.
So anyway. There's I think as far as the big, except for Tor's, his is like these little classics. Mine's probably more popcorn entertainment. Yeah, I mean, which is nothing wrong,
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. We're getting a diverse list with the listeners here.
Yep.
All right, well, that's my number 2.
Number 2.
What do you got?
All right, so my number 2 is the book that we listened to going up to PAX. I'm a huge zombie fan. If anyone doesn't, if you do not know it by that point, that hit the wrong button. World War Z.
Oh, damn it! Yeah. I
have listened to this thing probably like 10 times since purchasing it, and it's a telecast instead of just a an all-star of people. I don't actually have the book. The one time I found the book, it was dirt cheap. I bought it because it was too dirt cheap. I'm like, no, give this thing needs to have.
Wait, so did you buy it?
No, I didn't, because to me it felt like such an insult.
Yeah.
But no. To me, it tells.
Hang on.
Yeah, this way it talks about from the the questionable start of the what. Yeah.
Oh yeah, baby.
The first reported bite in a small Chinese village, to the Great Panic, to the success, because they've beaten them, but they're still out there. To me, like World War, Walking Dead would have been like those two. To me, they're like those two are the same story being told. or World War Z is telling the bigger what happened in China, where Walking Dead, is more focused.
It's fucking somewhere in Virginia.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
like all that stuff that Rick and his crew go to. It's just because they're in the forest. They're in the woods.
Yeah.
Like if they just pop their heads out.
Yeah. I mean, if I would love to see a Max Brooks do a collaboration with damn it, can I remember his name now?
So the Audible, so the thing that you listened to, so it had like different celebrities doing doing different vignettes.
Like they was done sort of interview style, like Alan Alta is like he's
Nice.
the plays as a basically he wasn't like he was like third in line, for like there's the president and stuff. Basically, he had to sit there and go, to every pseudo bigwig there and says like, hey, if you can give us this much like meat and stuff, that will that will save your land from being cannibalized by now hungry humans, and we'll guarantee your safety. Not Sean Bain. What's his name? Well, Henry Rollins has a voice. I wish I could remember who does the voice. That's Simon Pegg. He does a voice in it.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And apparently from the audiobook I got was called the Complete Edition. There was two versions of it. There was the abridged, and then they did what's called the Lost Files.
Oh.
But they merged them together when the movie came out.
I wonder if well, yeah, I got well, I guess what's called an advanced readers edition. I wonder, I probably don't have the Lost Files.
Well, it's that was because yours is the book. I think they only did so many when they first did the audiobook.
Oh, okay.
They only did because they didn't know if it was going to be successful. Because but no, the version I got was just basically complete. But it's like they mentioned they didn't do an additional chapter about the movie character, the Brad Pitt movie character, which they could have done it. Him as well, in the movie he was supposed to be the Max Brooks character, but they were like, nobody wants to see just a movie of interviews, so they made him this guy from the HOU or something like that, or just the
yeah. What'd you think of the movie?
Okay, the whole like ant, the running zombie ant style, I thought was amazing.
Yeah.
But the whole to combat them, we need to infect ourselves with like chlamydia, yellow fever.
Yeah.
What? And to me, it was an insult. It was an insult to throw World War Z onto there. It was an insult.
I mean, it's basically two separate movies. The first half of the movie, pretty. I think it kind of encompasses the worldly scope of the novel.
Yeah,
I think it does pretty well. But then the second half, which was pegged on, by the way, it was tacked on later.
Okay.
2 years later. Like they had to reshoot. They reshot the entire second half.
Okay.
Because what they had shot didn't work for some reason. But the first half is incredible.
Yeah, because I would have loved an HBO miniseries.
Done
it. Mark Hamill. Him telling the story of the here come. I wish I could remember the. Now the time I've listened to, I can't remember a damn thing. When they are setting up a shop to fight the zombies in New York, Yonkers, and them failing. I would have loved, that as a standalone episode. Just, it's like, yeah, here we are, our heat-seeking missiles, we put all these landmines out, and zombies defeated them. It's like sort of the Australians facing the emus. Oh my God, is that it? But to me, this is my one of my didn't make a number one, but this is like my favorite. I can listen to like deep, dark, depressing podcasts. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna listen to World War Z.
No, I totally agree with you. I've read this like 4 times, and because it's I've already said that there's like some easy reads already. This is a very easy.
Yeah.
Like, it's super entertaining. It's one of those books that you can literally just pick up and just start reading.
Well, I mean, then you're sitting there thinking about what's your zombie story? Where I always wanted to try to submit one to him. Like, I was one of those peoples in those like Lamos, where basically they were like just a bunch of people in an area, sort of like the governor, They set up they set shop. We are the rulers of this area. I always him the person surviving. It's like, oh yeah, things were great, for a couple months, and then all of a sudden, here comes this new group, introduce himself, and our leader just cuts his hand off. If you don't know why, that's a Walking Dead arc.
Yeah. They got to do the multiverse with Negan.
Yep.
Man, you know what part sticks out to me the most from World War Z?
Huh?
It's one of the latter chapters where they're in France.
Oh yeah.
And they talk about the dudes who are clearing out the Paris sewers.
Yeah, that is probably one of my.
And they're like, yeah, it's like a 50% survival rate. Like 1 out of every 2 people just die because it's so fucked up. I that's always stuck to me. But yeah, no, World War Z is the shit. Yeah, I love this book. God damn it! All right, it's an honorable mention. It wasn't on. Let's stop that.
Yeah. So now to our honorable mentions.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's go.
All right. So I'll start.
Yeah.
So this is one of those. Unfortunately, this didn't make my list because what happened with a parent company uncanonizing it.
Oh.
Hey, do you know?
Are you talking about the Thrawn trilogy or something?
No, unfortunately not the Thrawn.
Oh, okay.
This is to me the only book that has as far as I know, I could be wrong, that had at least a soundtrack dedicated to itself. All right, make sure this clicks on. Hopefully it works. Shadows of the Empire.
Okay. Yeah.
It was one of those books. I found it on sale at I think it was like was it Sears? No, not Sears. It was one of the stores that had like a small paper store in there. It wasn't Walden Books, but it was on sale for a couple bucks off. And this is one of those books I've read like 3 or 4 times before they got uncanonized. Because to me, it answered the question. What happened between Return of the Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. And it had one of the.
Well, yeah. I mean, the Legends crew.
Yeah.
Whoever was in charge of that, which wasn't anybody really. They were like, oh yeah, come on in, Shadows of the Empire. You're cool. And, like, we know you're kind of, you're sort of like in ties with the video game, but you're canon. When they decided, like, yeah, you're a canon.
Yeah.
And Disney comes along. None of it's canon.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it had one of the greatest, Han Solo like characters, but to me, he was, I have to maybe have to reread it again or something.
Dash Rendar. Love Dash.
It was like and questionable. Did he live? Did he die? At least that's what I remember from the video game. But
although, what do you think? What do you think about the fact that Dash isn't on the cover? That's weird.
Yeah, I did find that weird.
Because Luke does hardly anything in the book.
Yeah.
No, I have that book. It's up there somewhere.
Yeah.
My Star Wars.
I could not find my copy.
Let's see. Well, I have a one of honorable mention is Lord of the Flies. I just love the book.
I actually
read that in high school.
I saw I think there's probably only one movie adaptation of it. I think.
Yeah. The movie adaptation. Yeah, it's a pretty good movie adaptation.
Yeah. I felt sorry for Piggy.
Well, as you should.
Yeah, because
as you really should. No, yeah, that movie makes you feel stuff. The novel makes you feel stuff, and that novel was written in the 50s.
Wow.
Right at the beginning of like the Cold War, and that was kind of its whole point. It's like okay, a bunch of little boys, they just left to their own devices. Everything gets fucked up, tribal.
Yeah.
People get killed, but they're saved. They're saved by the outside force.
Yeah.
But the whole question is, all right, so who saves us? Is there an outside force coming to this island?
Yeah.
To save our shit? Nope. No, not really.
Because
Piggy's gonna die.
Because my only question was from the movie when I saw the movie was okay. So the person in the cave was their captain, right? And then when
yes,
or their squad leader, however that works. But okay, someone goes there and kills him. But it seems like in the movie it's indicated there's possibly something else in that cave, or did I just have
no. There's one character that kind of it's kind of this boy with epilepsy, and he's kind of symbolic of like a shaman type character.
Okay.
And yeah, it's sort of like talking, and it's sort of there's no actual beast. It's all about how it sort of symbolizes how we're animals, and that being hyped up like this, it just creates this funnel effect where all of a sudden we get crazy violent and crazy bloodlust.
Yeah.
Just from getting hyped up of our out of our own volition. So there wasn't anything ever in the cave. It was all just tricks. It was all an illusion. Okay. And the kid with epilepsy dies.
Okay.
Because he's epileptic, if I remember correctly. And then that starts a whole cascade stuff.
All right. Yeah, because it was just because I thought it was a good movie. Yeah, I may have to read the books. I remember my ex-wife, she had to read that in high school, and she told me about, I think she had just read when Piggy died, and she was not happy. She's like, he didn't deserve that. And he didn't.
Well, he's a pretty it's also an easy. He's a pretty easy writer to listen to read and probably to listen to as well. It's pretty easy.
Okay.
So yeah, the audiobook is probably pretty nice, pretty quick.
Okay. All right. So one of my I have two more honorable mentions. This one is just sort of to me could be an extension to World War Z. The Zombie Survivor Guide.
Oh well, yeah, well.
Because to me, it's what's great about it goes into all right, so you're wielding a crowbar. Well, here's some positives of the crowbar. Here's the negatives of the crowbar. Here, this literally says, in this, don't go be wearing a trench coat, despite what everyone wants to do. The whole Fallout New Vegas, don't wear that, and that is a cool aesthetic. Don't get me wrong, but it says wearing a trench coat while you're running, and that zombie's on the ground, he can still grab you.
Thanks, Max Brooks.
Yeah.
Keep it real, Max Brooks. Let us know what the real shit is.
And it was funny. I did not know he was Mel Brooks' son when I picked this up. I had no idea. But yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good. Well, I have another honorable mention. It's another, pompous literary one, but Ulysses by James Joyce could not make my top 5 because only because it's considered the greatest novel ever written for a reason. It's
Okay.
great.
Is Ulysses, is this the guy on the boat? Or am I thinking Odyssey?
Well, so you are both right and wrong. So that story about Odysseus, Ulysses is the Roman version. That's the Roman name for that guy. For that, and it's the Roman version of that story.
Okay.
And James Joyce, the novel is, generally speaking, it's that story told in a day in the life of a dude in Ireland, like his day. Like it's just this dude in Ireland hanging out, go making breakfast, going to work, going to the bar, meeting up with people afterwards, and meanwhile his wife's having an affair. But all of it, it basically follows the arc of of the Odyssey.
How did you run upon this book?
Oh, I mean, it's considered the best book ever written.
Okay.
It's known. It's a very well known book. Problem is James Joyce is a very incredibly difficult writer to read. It's very difficult to kind of understand what he's saying.
Okay.
Like, he's probably also the most difficult literary writer of all time. Because like every chapter is a different genre of fiction.
Okay.
Like one chapter is written like a play, the other chapter is written like a poem, another chapter is written like an advertisement, another chapter is written like in code. Like it's all very it's like the creme de la creme of like hard. Like I barely understood it. I only read it through the entire way because I took a class on it. But there's something about the book. It's, even though it's super difficult, there's something that brings, like, it was an online class, but we all decided to get together and talk about it because you just want to talk about it because it's such a great.
Well, it was probably like, it's like, okay, did I understand this part right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. And yeah, it can sound like nonsense, but that's the difference, is that some things that sound like nonsense are just nonsense. But some things, there's something to them. It's not just nonsense. You sort of have to dig into the dirt a little bit to get to it, and it's a satisfying conclusion when you do. But I have to reread it. It couldn't be in my top 5, so it's probably number 6. Honestly. But yeah, couldn't hit the top 5. I have to reread it.
All right. This one I unfortunately never. I have not audiobook this book. I have not read this book, but I read this book. This is one of my favorite books. I was read to when I was in elementary school.
Oh.
This is a book when I try to check out because of my reading difficulty, they denied me. Again, let's see if this works. Bunnicula.
Wait, what? But nice.
And if those who don't know, I
think I remember that.
Some says this rabbit is assumed to be a vampire because all the vegetables their juices are being sucked away, and what's left are like, imagine a celery stalk also going from green to white. But it's told from the story of people who see on the screen, the dog and a cat.
Yeah.
And I remember, I wish I could remember which teacher it was, but I remember her reading this story, and then there's part of the story where apparently the dog, they did research and they said how to kill a vampire was with a steak. Well, their owners come home with a porterhouse steak. I don't know what kind of steak, but well, they proceeded to hold the bunny down and the dog slapping the steak on this bunny. And the owner's freaking out because now they can't eat the steak because it has dog hair and germs on it. And it was just like I just remember sitting. I just remember sitting, cross-legged, and our teacher just reading this. And it's a small book.
Dude, you got to find that book, dude.
Yeah.
You got to find that book.
And yeah, I just remember. And then I liked it, so I loved her from reading. I tried to check it out, but because according to my reading aptitude, this is way above you. Can't read this. And plus, it was like one of those. It was one of those. It was everyone was checking it out, and I just happened to grab it, and that's when they said, "No, you can't read it, Phil."
That's weird. That's no one should ever be saying that.
Yeah. Maybe it's funny because some of these books, like with Long Hard Road Out of Hell, Tisha writing saying I should focus on classic books, being denied reading this book. I've and a few others. That's what I think has deterred me from reading full novels too.
Mm. Probably. It kind of sounds like you were just sort of put off.
Yeah.
Well, those things as a kid.
And then like in school, being forced to read, Count of Monte Cristo. By all means, I should have loved this book. I should have. But sitting here having to go through, when they're giving us a list of words, we have to find the abbreviations, then find the abbreviations that fit what was going on in that book. I mean, I recently, before starting this, one of the books I remember reading was The Haunted Mesa by Louis L'Amour.
Oh, yeah. I read that. Yeah, I read that in high school, too. Yeah.
I was forced to read in junior high by, it was a class called Developmental Reading. And everyone failed that class because she,
Jesus.
Well, and because it was like she was trying to teach, this is also my opinion of the educational system. But it was like she's trying to teach us read on a college level. It's like, dude, if I want to read a book, I should be able to, And it was like my parents try to go in so much, try to. Like, can we go buy him this book, and then when he's done with it, donate it to you? Oh no, you can't do that because that means he would be ahead of everyone else. Where I'm like, almost 100 pages behind where we should be. I already was a slow reader.
Yeah, it kind of just sounds like you had a couple shitty teachers.
Yeah,
that's honestly what that sounds like.
And it was like I did a lookup on it, and it's like it's a Weird West, investigate. It sounds like an investigation story. And I'm like, I should love that now. I should be able, but because now it's forever tainted, I will never read it. Yeah, so that's my little diatribe. I'm off my soapbox.
No. I mean, that makes sense, man. Well, my last honorable mention, will be my comic book mention is Watchmen.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty standard. I mean, everyone knows that.
Yeah.
Everyone knows Watchmen is awesome. And I haven't read that many comic books, but I do have that. I bought that. And yeah, it's that good, right? It's a piece of literature. And and I think it's great. It's awesome. It deserves all the praise it can have. The movie was horrible. It wasn't the worst, but it wasn't. But you have to do. That's also a series. That's also has to be a miniseries.
Yeah.
Like an actual miniseries of the comic.
I mean, you're not talking about the whole, DC's sequelized of the or the HBO sequelized, which I heard wasn't that bad.
It wasn't the worst, but it just wasn't that. It just
Yeah.
wasn't, yeah. No. Anyway, yeah. That's my other honorable mention.
Yeah. All right, our number ones.
Woo. All right, hang on. Let me. I need to use the restroom real quick.
All right.
Take
I'm going to do it as well. I want to use the restroom as well. We'll be back. Please, take your guesses. Put it in the comments.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, make sure I hit the right button.
Check.
So I actually thought of if it as another honorable mention, because if it was done only as a one and done, the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic.
Man, which I think I still. Do I have those around somewhere? Have they been lost in time? It might have been lost in time too. I had 1 through 13. Oh well, not the originals.
Yeah.
I had the weird, the kitty ones.
The Arch. I
Archie comics.
Yeah. All right.
I did have 1 through like 13 though.
Yeah. I found those. There was a trade version I found. Was it through eBay? But they wanted like $78 for it. Like, unless that sucker's signed by Archie himself.
Yeah.
All right.
Archie.
Yep.
All right, we're here, folks. We're the penultimate.
All right. Number one.
Oh man. Well, despite making the for me making a list, it's difficult. A lot of things can be put on the table. I like a lot of books, but as of right now, the number one is easy. It's an easy answer. Uh, we have Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace.
Hmm.
Now, Phil, have you heard of this book?
I have not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a newer book. It was published in '96.
Okay.
Uh, so yeah, it's not in the lexicon as of right yet. Uh, but David Foster Wallace, uh, pretty somewhat famous modern writer, and this is his magnum opus. He's written a couple other things.
Okay. Excuse me, by the
But
way.
then he committed suicide.
Oh.
He died, I think, around 12 years ago, something like that. So yeah, R.I.P. Because yeah, he was a true talent. And so this book, I mean, I don't even know really how to begin talking about this book. It's hard to describe. It's really hard to describe. Uh, it's loosely what's in the book is there's two characters. One of them is like this teen who's in this tennis academy, and it's about him and the characters in the tennis academy. It's also about this character named Don Gately, who's like this ex junkie who's now working at a rehab place. Um, and then that's all of that is loosely framed in it's slightly in the future where every year is companies get to bid on the year, so it's like 2027, the year of our Lord McDonald's. And during all of this, there's these Canadian rebels. There's like these French Canadian terrorists who are trying because America keeps just rocketing all of our nuclear trash into Canada.
Okay.
So these French terrorists, so they decide, so they're trying to do this thing. They're do this terrorist attack. There's this piece of media. There's this VHS tape that when you watch it, you can't stop watching it, and so you die because it's so good. It's so entertaining. It's so riveting that you die watching it on repeat. And the person who made that VHS tape is the father of the kid in the tennis academy.
Okay.
And that is the most simplistic plot I can give you about the novel. But it doesn't even touch how it's actually made or formulated. There's just so much more to it. It's in the structure of it. It's kind of like it a little bit. Like it jumps around quite a bit. Like I think the first chapter is like the last thing that happens chronologically, and then it kind of like pyramids in the past from there. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else other.
So is it like a cycle? Is it an like an action? Is it a because I was just from just the year of McDonald's. Is it like?
It does have those elements. It does have elements that is like sort of loosely set in the future, but it's not important.
Okay.
It's not important that it's really a character piece.
Okay.
And it's just about these wacky people, like the kid in the tennis academy has a brother who's a football player, and he gets kidnapped by the terrorists. And then Don Gately gets into this huge fight just with these other punks that are trying to make money to like do a deal with the terrorists, and he gets sent to the hospital, and literally like the last quarter of the book is just this huge monologue of this guy in the hospital trying not to take pain medicine because that's what he was addicted to.
Okay.
And the entire last quarter is just this like horribly is a monologue of him just laying in bed in abject pain and trying so hard to like not call the doctors for pain medication. He's been like burned alive and stuff like that.
Okay.
And like that's it. That's what the last quarter is. But it's just so fucking mind blowing. Like I have a tattoo, DG Don Gately, which basically just means just abide. Don't do the thing. Don't do the thing. Want to do the thing? Don't do the thing.
Okay.
It's just great. In terms of, yeah, it can be a hard read. I think he's an amazing author, but it can be difficult. People find it difficult, and I don't even know how you can make it an audiobook because you know footnotes, right?
Yeah.
Like you can have like a little number. So there are about 90 pages of footnotes. And some of those footnotes are like pages long. That's just his style. Like he'll be writing something in the novel and then want to have it do a tangent about something. So he writes a 4 on the thing, and then you go to the footnotes, and it's like a chapter long tangent.
But did it help you understand? It's like, oh, okay, or it's
right,
like,
yeah. It's context. It opens up the space.
Okay.
Like there's one where it's like just this like huge filmography of the dad that made the VHS tape that everyone's trying to get. So like the French terrorists, they're trying to get a copy of this tape, and then they're going to show it on like American television, and like make everybody die, like everybody in America like go catatonic, basically.
Okay.
That's like the overarching plot, but it's not important. The plot's not. It's just this. It's all. The overall theme is that the whole novel is that what does entertainment mean? What is entertainment?
Okay.
How do we fill our time? Like what is it about us that makes us need to watch movies or do drugs or do anything like that? What are we lacking that we need things like this to have good lives? It's a great question.
Okay.
And it's an amazing novel. I don't know. I mean, I would recommend it to you, but I don't know how you can even do it in audio.
Well, I'm pretty sure if I look, it's probably there.
Yeah, it's probably there. Yeah. But even in audiobook, it might be difficult.
Yeah.
Like but I think about this book all the time. Whenever I see someone reading it, I immediately start a conversation, and they're immediately ready to talk about it. It's just one of those things where it's like it kind of changes your life after you read it.
Okay.
It makes you think about a lot of things. And R.I.P. David Foster Wallace. Yeah, he could have written a lot more great books, but yeah, he didn't. Not going to. So yeah, that's my number one.
Right. That's sad to hear. It's but wow, yeah. Damn. I was like, I'm getting hints of like, I've never seen the movie, but I've seen enough clips of like, the movie Brazil.
Yeah, you know what? That feeling of that movie, it's a little bit like this book, because like it's the future, but people still use VHS.
Yeah.
Like it's stuff like that. It's just weird stuff like that, right? What was I going to say? Oh shoot, I forgot. Yeah, well, that's my number one. What do you got, Phil? Let's go.
My number one. So I know it's been I've always loved comic books, and during during my early adult, didn't have a lot of money, didn't have to buy comics, but I always knew I liked comics. I remember going to our local public library where they had a section of trades. And one of the books I picked up was the very first of the volume. happened to run upon some D&D friends and asked them, well, what do you think of this series? And they're like, it's like, dude, you need to read it, man. So I read it again, took it back, checked it out, read it again. I think I probably checked that book out so many times that I think I was probably made it fall apart. So my number one is Neil Gaiman's The Sandman, Volume 1, Preludes and Nocturnes. And and also I liked about the library cover.
Let's go.
I loved the library's cover of it. That was like my favorite edition of it.
It's the same one.
Same one.
Oh, okay. But there was but they had a different one.
They had a different one. I think it was like fifth edition or something, or no, third edition. I don't know. It was just this very simplistic cover.
Which one is this? Is this the first edition cover, or what is it?
I don't know.
It's, 1989. Salmon Comics.
95.
Oh, it could be Oh no. Okay, 91. All right. No, wait. 95. This is the 95 version.
Okay.
So yeah, probably fourth or second or.
But yeah, because I know it was. I think it was like it was just no wait, that was Dollhouse, where it was just blue background. But this is like one of my all-time favorites. It is good. The story of Morpheus being captured and held in prison for like 70 years. Was it 70? At least,
something like that.
pretty much all of his items, and it was like, and I was always told, it's like, you can read these books at like Dollhouse, the third book, as standalones. You could, but if you're a person who read it from the first, you would understand the bigger story. And that's what I always loved about the Sandman series. And but no, his, the one of my the story is the diner story of the villain just sitting in there manipulating 4 or 5 people in this diner for 24 hours.
Yeah.
Then him sitting there, that was when he went to hell to have to do a duel. It's like, I'm nothing and stuff. The artwork.
Yeah, dude. That artwork, dude.
Yeah.
Shit was awesome. Man, can you just 89? That's when this first came out.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that, dude?
Yeah.
What the hell were we doing in '89?
Ninja Turtles, man! Ninja Turtles!
It's just Archie Ninja Turtle comics. Oh, man.
But yeah, no, I've read this so many. I mean, I should have it memorized. But, him running into, and then the amount, people always talk about spin-offs and stuff. The amount of people who came, I think, out, as far as I know, I could be wrong, Lucifer Morningstar had his own comic book series, which then became, a WB franchise. Constantine, was in this. Yeah.
Well, goddamn it. I mean, so yeah, like I said, like I purposefully stayed away from series if I hadn't done that, yeah, like the Sandman probably would have been in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The little the the showing of the Martian Manhunter from the Justice League International was, I think, pretty hilarious. He was like who would Morpheus shows up and he's like, oh, apparently Morpheus is his deity, and he leaves like, who was that? Oh, just like an old person I knew. Hey, I got some Oreos. Let's go have some. Because apparently that at least at the time of writing, that was his thing.
Now, man, the first Sandman book I ever got.
Okay.
And speaking of like not knowing the full context, I had gotten there's one that's just sort of like offshoot. There's like a book like this that's sort of like offshoots or like super one-offs. It's like a B-side of Sandman.
I think I made. Is it
You know what I'm
the
talking? You know
is
what
it
I'm
the
talking about?
Sandman Endless Nights?
Could be.
Because yeah, that was like because it had nothing had been released for a while, and like all of a sudden this if it's the one I think it is, Endless Nights, just got dropped, and everyone who I knew was a Sandman fanatic picked it up, and it's like you really can't describe because it's like it does, what is it about? May have to reread it again because I read like that one 2 or 3 times.
Oh, well, actually, maybe it might just be like it's Fables and Reflections.
Uh, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's like issue. That is the 6th trade.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, they just don't have it. They just don't have number 6 on the thing.
Yeah.
I must have a different edition than the other editions.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I read this one first, so I was like, "Who? What? Who's Abel and Cain? I don't understand what's going on."
Oh God, I love Abel and Cain.
And this is where they have the story of like the dude who thinks he's king.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so I guess that's cool. It's a different. But yeah, I'm gonna have to buy the 6 in the same edition as these other ones.
Yeah,
That's
no.
the only way it'll make sense.
Not too long ago, I finished I actually, I think it was just this, like, was it this year? I actually managed to get I think I was missing like 7, 8, no, like, I think it was up to 10 or 11. But I managed to finish, but sadly, yeah, they're not all in the same editions. So it's like weird looking over my cover. It's like, this edition, this, then.
Well, yeah. So they basically probably came out with like different editions, like after like 3rd one and then the 6th one. And
Yeah.
Then obviously 7, 8, 9 couldn't be in those earlier editions. So, well, I guess that's part of the process.
Yeah. Well, I mean, by the time I read them, they were, they were all out and finished. Because I remember like the library had only so many of them. I think they had like 3 copies of like, what was it? Was it Dream County or Seasons of Mists? They had like 2 or 3 copies of that. But I know Prelude to Nocturne is like, and they actually I think did a pretty faithful adaptation of it for the Netflix series.
Well, yeah, but that was the next question. Is wait, what you think of that?
I liked it. I did.
Yeah, me too. I thought it was great. I thought it was awesome.
I mean, the guy, to me, I think they needed, my opinion, Morpheus should be more like, he does not, he's supposed to look humanish at all. He looks human, but he's not human. Like, to me, it's like almost, you would have to have, like, I want to say CGI or some kind of, but make him look unearthly. That's my only gripe. But it's like I mean,
they got close.
Yeah,
at least
they nailed the story. Pretty much the story right.
They,
You know,
they
I
didn't turn him. They didn't turn him into like a a minority woman. Like that. Even though he is, I think he was that to like one. He is that in one story or something, right? Like, because he's always something different to
Yeah.
everybody who sees them.
yeah, because I mean I think in the second book he was he because okay in this book he runs upon an old flame of his that he cast to hell because
Right.
she rejected his love. And in the story, he's in this, it's set in, well, it's presumed to be Africa, like the beginning of civilization.
Yeah, and they show that in the movie and in the show too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, the show seemed pretty true. I mean, it's just sort of pulled off of the page.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, it seemed to me, from what I could remember,
Yeah.
I fucking loved it.
I wish I could watch it again, but unfortunately with Netflix and their password restriction, I can't.
Are you out?
Yeah, I'm out.
Me too. Me too. Yeah, I'm out. Yeah.
But if they ever put that sucker onto like a Blu-ray or something, I'll pick it up. Oh well. I doubt it.
I wonder how many people are out for Netflix because of that bullshit. Well, I mean, or people who decided, because I mean, I guess that's not the reason I left, but because I did pay for it, but no, I just decided I didn't. Yeah, I had to let go of something.
Yeah.
So I decided Netflix.
Well, I mean, it was like apparently now there was a tier structure or something like that. It's like $6.99, but you still get ads or something like that. I was like, no. But yeah, Preludes and Nocturnes is
nice.
Then I think a little end story with him having a visit with his sister Death. And just her sitting here, telling us like, stop being an emo bitch.
Yeah, no. I mean, that's great. I've started reading 4, which is called like Seasons and Mist, or something like that. So I've never read it. I've never read 4, 5, and I guess I've read 6, but never read 4 and 5. So I'm reading. Yeah, I read a bit last night, and it was awesome.
Yeah. And
I'm hyped.
I wish I could remember there was one that I think it was he did his own version, the adaptation of Shakespeare's. What's the one where they go into like where someone turns into a donkey?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But apparently that won like a prestigious award that's only really it was supposed to meant for like serious writers, but because they had such a bitch fetch about it, one, Neil Gaiman never got his award for it, and then he was the only award that won it, but they purposely said, all right, yeah, no, it has to be, it cannot be comics.
You know what? That could be in the 4th one, because there's an intro by Harlan Ellison for the 4th book where he specifically talks about that. So if it wasn't in 1 through 3, then it had to have been before at least the 4th. So maybe it was in the 3rd, or maybe it's in the 4th.
I have to probably grab it.
He talks about that, where Harlan was like, "Yeah, all these fucking assholes got so out of shape and been out of shape at this like convention or whatever, because he got the science fiction award, or whatever, and it was the first time a comic book had ever gotten that, and everyone got pissed, and they changed the fucking rules, and he was like, yeah, they all suck. Gaiman's a genius.
Yeah.
Here I am writing this forward.
And see, it was funny because I only knew of Neil Gaiman because of Sandman. I didn't know at the time how other at the time, when I heard, people like, oh, if you want to read the other Gaimans, Good Omens, American Gods, was it Star? I think it was Starfall or Starhope.
Something. I have that book. That's the only other Neil Gaiman thing I own.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Starcatcher or something like that.
Yeah, because I know I think it was, Michelle Pfeiffer was and Pacino.
Oh my! Really?
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
but yeah, and I was like, oh well. It's funny because I was like, when I first was like, oh, that's nice. He's getting into that writing, but it's like, no. Apparently, he was a serious author before he even did the Sandman series. And it's funny how he even did started he when DC approached him. I think they wanted him to do their Sandman, which was a superhero with like a who would put people to sleep. He's like, oh yeah, no, I want to make him this ethereal god almost.
Yeah, buddy.
I was like, God, it's like, can you imagine having that much? And I think it's funny. It's like when people talk about comics, like I think DC has more best serious, like Watchmen, Sandman. Where Marvel really doesn't. Marvel is specific. To me, more is the superhero comics. I mean, they have later done adaptations of like The Stand, of not its own story of the Dark Tower, but like pre Dark Tower, the young story of Roland and all that.
Oh well, speaking of that, that if you. For my comic book collection,
yeah,
as meager as it is, that's my largest collection.
Really?
I have all of those. Yeah, and they're good.
Okay.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Like I collected the first set, but I love the art. But it just maybe was just not knowing the Dark Tower lore. I just I can't do it.
That's pretty good. Yeah, Dark Tower. Another thing that I purposely kept away from because it's a series. Otherwise, one of those books might have been in the top 5.
So I've only read like the first 3 of those, and to me the first one, because I read it, I love the first one, the opening of the Man in Black running from Roland and stuff.
Yeah, the first one's really good as like an easy read. The second one is. I love the second one. The second one's amazing, only because that's King in the 80s, and it's so 80s. Like, King is super coked up. You can tell, and you can just tell that. And then the third one is just sort of post-Coke era, and it's just action-packed. It's just cool. And then the other one, and then the fourth one, yeah, it's a little. It's good. The fourth one's great.
Was that like Wizard and Glass?
Yeah, and it's the flashback one, but it's really good. And then 5, 6, and 7, they're fine, but they were all written in like a year because that was after his accident.
Yeah, I was like,
and they're just all. I mean, they're good in their own way, but like, yeah, it's just like, it's just. Let's just get it done, basically.
I don't think. Well, one, I don't think he wanted what the Wheel of Time guy. I mean, again, I haven't read those books, but it was just like, a lot of people I've talked to who, for those books, like actively stayed. It was like, to me, it ended like maybe the second to last book. Robertson, I can't remember his name now. Robert Jordan. Wrote or something like that.
Oh well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I look, like, it always is weird when that happens, right? But
yeah,
Sanderson, he's okay. He's a good writer.
Oh yeah,
his books, other than the last one sucks. The very last one sucks. But the 2, he wrote 3. He wrote the last 3.
Okay.
With the notes, but the first 2 ones that he wrote, they're good. They're decent.
Yeah. I actually have some of Sanderson, like there was a couple free books they put out on Audible where it's he's a detective with like multiple personalities, and so I don't know if they were supposed to be their own standalone stories or like this is only chapters 1 through 4, but they feel like and they weren't bad. But it was like,
yeah, he's a pretty good writer. Oh god, see now we're getting in the weeds here. Now we're getting talking serious. That'll be another episode.
Yep. All right. Yeah, we probably should call it here.
Cool.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Well,
I'm
ladies and
Phil Nilsson here,
Torrance True.
and we are two cousins. We talk about,
Talking.
and you got our top 5 books. What's
Know so much about us.
Yep. What's some of your favorite books? Put it on the comments.
Yeah. Let us know.
Yeah.
Let us know what we missed.
Yep. Oh yeah,
All right, y'all.
I do have one question. There,
Oh, yeah.
I just found it out. It was apparently Apple's doing. It was they did the Foundation. Is that one of the books you read?
Oh yeah, you texted me that. Yeah, you know what? Actually, I was thinking about the question that you had asked, and yeah, during summer school, yeah, I think I was reading the Foundation series, and you had said something that I was like pissed off at it or something.
Because you were like, what you went like you weren't like I'm done. It's just like you felt like it was like because I think you said I had read the first 2 and then it was like the third one.
Yeah.
And
You know what?
and like
I know exactly.
and you were just like it sounded like you were just so disappointed or something about it. Like it did, like the stuff wasn't making sense.
Nope, I know. I it's come back to me, the memory just now. I remember it. I remember reading it in my car, in the truck.
Yep.
I remember reading it in my truck during break. And yeah, the first 2 Foundations, again, another sort of like, I mean, those books span like hundreds of years of time.
Okay.
They're like vignettes, episodic. That's why the Apple show sucks.
Okay.
That it's not Foundation at all. It's not.
It's not even like Foundation Light. It's just
separate. It just has the name. That's
okay.
all. That's all.
Okay.
But yeah, but yeah, it's very episodic, very like large. But then like the third book basically becomes like a romance, and I was like, what? I remember if I'm remembering things correctly.
Okay, that sounds. Yeah, I think so. That sounds about right now.
That feeling's coming back. That's taking me back. Dude, that summer was so strange.
Yeah, because I think I just picked it up and I think I made a smart ass comment because like, oh, Foundation, oh, what is it about? Like building a house like that? And then you're like, yeah, that was the 3rd book of this series. I'm like, ah. It's like, because you're like the first 2 is this philosophical, the deep meaning of man, and this one is about.
Yeah, I know that could very well be it. Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry about stopping, and my brain remembered that. All right. Again, Phil Nilsson.
Orange True.
All right. See ya.
All right.